And we're back now for the bottom of the second inning. Dylan Cup now sits at a 2-1 count. Now to Rice, now still pitching for Samford. You have runners at first base. Big swing and a miss to even up the count at 2 balls and 1 strike. So after we started off this inning, we had a big base hit back from after Hunter Hines struck out from Aaron Downs, a base hit up the middle, and that's a ground ball rolled over to second base. Gandy will toss over to Ince, and that'll be out number 3. So Mississippi State scores a run, so 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, 1 runner left on base. We're going to step aside, and we'll be back for the top of the third inning. You're listening to Mississippi State Baseball on the Bulldog Student Sports Network. And we welcome you back to the top of the third inning. It'll be Kevin Mannell to take over for Noah Sullivan. Sullivan goes 2 innings pitched. He gives up 2 hits, a walk, and a strikeout. Still keeping that perfect ERA as a Bulldog. So now Kevin Mannell comes in relief for Noah Sullivan. Kevin Mannell, a junior from Topeka, Kansas. Right-handed pitcher, had a very solid appearances last time out against Jackson State. First pitch to Jeffrey Ince is a fastball outside for ball 1. Jeffrey Ince singled in his first at-bat back in the first inning. He takes the 1-0 pitch as that's lifted high over towards the left side. That'll reach out of play into the left field berm. Very popular place for lots of students and fans to take their kids, lay out a blanket. Beautiful day like this.
Yeah, John, you really could not ask for a better day to come out to the ballpark.
No, you really couldn't. You really couldn't. So that evens up the count to Jeffrey Ince, 1-1, as that's lifted into left field, down the left side, and that is just foul.
Yeah, that ball, that was going to be trouble.
If that's just a few more feet off to the right side, maybe a yard, that's going to be extra bases. We saw Jeffrey Ince single back in the top of the first inning and then stole second base, as that was reviewed multiple times by our officiating crew here tonight. Took a couple minutes, but they finally got the right call. Safe at second base. That slider is outside, so that'll even it up at 2-2. Now the 2-2 offering. Inside slider. Ince Jeffrey Ince turned on that one, foul down the first baseline.
Yeah, Ince doing a really solid job with 2-strike hitting here, choking up on the bat, widening that stance, just trying to put something in play, beat it out with his speed.
So Manel in the stretch comes set at the chest. The 2-2 pitch, breaking ball low at the knees. So that'll bring up a full count to Jeffrey Ince. Ince sitting at a .360 batting average on the season. He's second on the team in batting average. The payoff pitch, as that's off the end of the bat, that'll go onto the concourse on the left side, just above the left field berm. So Kevin Manel nods, comes set at the chest. The payoff pitch, fastball inside, and that'll be ball 4. So a walk for Noah Sullivan back in the first inning, and now a walk for Kevin Manel, his first batter that he faces here in this non-conference game against Samford. Kevin Manel comes into this game with a 1.23 ERA, 1.23 ERA with .82 with hitters in position.
John, I saw something over the weekend I'm really curious to get your thoughts about.
Yeah.
So as you can see now on that first base side, they got the double bag out there, right? A rule that kind of was just, or something they just added, I guess, this year. John, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's a good point that you make there, Eli. I think with that extra bag, I almost think that it should be an extension of the base path. It should be an extension of the base. So if you're going to make it a part of running through, I believe that it should also be just a bigger base, and that should be considered first base as well. Even though it's in the foul territory zone, I still think if you're going to make it. So now the 0-1 pitch,
They got
runner
him.
going, and the runner is called out.
It's a great throw.
So Joe Powell with another great throw over to second base. This time around, gets the out from the second base umpire. So after
I tell you what, it doesn't get much better than that. That's a dang good throw.
That's a dang good throw. So after the payoff pitch and a walk to Jeffrey Ince, he gets caught stealing from Joe Powell.
We may have another challenge.
That was close as well. I think he might be arguing with whether if Dylan Cupp's foot might have been in the way of the base path.
Well, he's got the ball. The ball beats him there. But I think we are going to have a challenge. As second base umpire Danny Cricks got us with the announcement. Yeah, it looks like we're going to.
So that play will be under review. But back to your question there, Eli. We've seen multiple times as this has been implemented, lots of players will be caught sleeping, if you will, by having their foot on the green bag, the extension of the first base. And the first baseman who has the ball after the end of the play will tag the runner, and they will be called out. You know, in that situation, that happens a lot. I think that it should be an extension of the first base. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, John, I really agree with you on that. I don't think that it shouldn't count as the extension of the bag only when you're running out first base, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that it should be at all times first base, no matter what the situation. But, yeah, over the weekend, I saw multiple instances where the guy would be standing on that green extension and get tagged out. And I just think that's silly. I mean, if you're going to have it there, just go ahead and make it the whole bag. You know what I mean? I disagree with it just being used for the purposes of being in the base path, and the runner can use it to run through the bag. And that's it's the same. It's as if you're standing on second base right now.
That's right. I think, I think it shouldn't be excluded just because it's a green bag. We might as well just make it another white bag while we're at it.
Yeah, and I feel that's the whole reason they have the color change anyway, so you can't stand. They can tell what part you're standing on. I just think that's silly. I think we should just have, a bigger first base. But that's just my opinion. Baseball is a quirky game, and that's just one of the quirky things that's been added.
it's a game of inches, and a lot of times just the extra inch of you not being on that bag could be the difference between an out or not. And we know how important outs are. You know, we've seen multiple times, even with Mississippi State, for instance, you'll see Mississippi State put on a tangent of runs with 2 outs. And, you know, outs come very costly. So should be interesting to see how long that lasts. You know, maybe that just means that players need to pay better attention to where they're setting their foot at. Maybe that's just one of those things. But after the review, we check to see.
Yeah.
So call on the field is confirmed. So Jeffrey Ince will trot back to the visitors' dugout, and the stolen base is confirmed.
Teams combined 0 for 2 on challenges so far tonight. Both on stolen bases at second base, including Jeffrey Ince.
So Jeffrey Ince gets the walk, but gets caught stealing second base by Joe Powell for out number 1.
But, you know, that's the game within the game, right? You know, we kind of hit on it earlier. We knew Samford was probably going to come in being pretty aggressive on the base paths, and they were going to make him prove Joe Powell was going to throw him out. And he finally put one on the line right on the money.
Now the 2-1 pitch to Harris, that's foul ball. It's right off the foot, inside part of the foot of Harris.
Oh, boy, that hurts.
Not what you want to see.
Yeah, that'll make you cringe right there.
Oh, yeah. So kind of like what you were going off of, Eli, with Samford trying to steal bases. This is going to be a small ball. They're going to try to manufacture the type of runs that they have against Mississippi State. They're coming into this game, they want to win. Yeah, 13-11 team. So the 2-2 pitch is fouled off down to the right line.
Yeah, there's no doubt. They're coming in here, you know, with a chance to play against an SE team, in my opinion, in the best ballpark in all of college baseball. They're going to try and get a win. You know, they're going to come in here. They're going to do everything they can.
2-2 pitch, and that's ground ball chopper right over the hand of Kevin Manell, and that'll roll into center field, gloved by Bryce Chance and tossed back in. So a 1-out base hit for Jackson Harris. So now due up to the plate is the DH Cade Carr. Cade Carr now comes into this game leading the Samford Bulldogs in the batting average category with a .390 batting average. The sophomore hitter steps up to the plate. He takes first pitch. Fastball outside for ball 1. So we have a runner at first base with 1 out. Mississippi State leads this ball game 1-0 here in the top of the 3rd inning. Kevin Manell tries to pick off over at first base. That throw gets away from Hunter Hines as he rounds second base. He's going to try to go to third base. The throw from Nolan Stevens is not in time, and so after a throwing error from Kevin Manell, we now have a runner sitting at 90 feet away. Jackson Harris, the first baseman, with a great base running, able to find his way at third base after the throwing error.
I'll tell you what. Duty Noblefield has a lot of great things. Oh, man.
And the 1-0 pitch is a slider that just gets away from Kevin Manell and finds the backside of Cade Carr. And so now after that hit by pitch, that'll be runners at the corners with only 1 out.
Duty Noblefield is one of the most prestigious ballparks in America, if not the. But if I had to nitpick one thing, and I think you'll agree with me on this.
Yeah?
It's the location of the visiting bullpen.
I can agree with you on that.
Every time, and obviously this shouldn't happen a lot, but unfortunately it does. It's baseball. You get a missed throw at first base on a pickoff move. That ball's heading straight for that visiting bullpen. And you can bet, unless it's me running the bases out there, that runner's getting all the way to third base.
And for Jackson Harris, he's the first baseman. He's not the fastest guy on this Samford Bulldogs team, but nonetheless, he finds his way over at third base, and we can tell him rounding around second base. If Nolan Stevens is able to get a throw across, then he might have a shot at getting him out, but throw was tucked away just in that back corner of that bullpen, that visitor's bullpen. You can tell if anybody that's been to Duty Noble Field, it's not much of a bullpen. It's really on that far right side, just out of play in foul territory.
Yeah, really just like an indention of the stadium, you know.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pressed up against that wall.
You know, you can see many people that sit in the right field berm able to have some conversations with the opposing bullpen. The 0-1 pitch that's lifted out of play down the right side. That'll reach out of play out of the concourse.
Yeah, I tell you what, if you're up and throwing in that bullpen, you got to be alert. I mean, you got to be. it's very much in play.
Head on a swivel. So no balls and 2 strikes, 1 out. The 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball outside. So a 1-2 count coming up to Jake Souders, the right fielder for Samford. Mississippi State now leads this game 1-0 here in the top of the third, but Samford with runners at the corners and 1 out. The 1-2 pitch that's lifted into right field, and that'll enter out of play. Hard hit ball right there, Eli, as that is hanging out over in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah, that ball was barreled up, John. I'm not going to lie to you.
Jake
A little
Souders
late.
Straighten that one out. Could be damage. The 1-2 pitch.
This
Chopper
is what you wanted.
over the left side. He'll throw it over to second base. Try to turn 2.
Oh.
And the throw is not in time at first base, but a run comes across to tie up the game here in the top of the third inning. But Jake Souders' ground ball is just a little bit too high for Ace Reese, and not enough for Gatlin Sanders to turn 2. So 1 out here after that ground ball. So two down here in the top of the third. A tie ball game after that fielder's choice.
Yeah, I tell you what, Souders was absolutely flying down that first base path.
Yeah, that's the difference between a run and not. So pitch is fouled off down the left side over towards the Mississippi State dugout.
Yeah, it looked Reese had like a little trouble at third base there trying to get the ball out of the glove. He was charging it on the run. Not an easy play by any means. Oh.
So after that, Carr is out at second base, a fielder's choice. Souders able to find his way at first base. Now Parker McDonald, the third baseman, sits at .333 batting average on the season. Kevin Minnell still in this game. The 0-1 pitch, and that's a line drive into left field right at Aaron Downs, and that'll be out number 3. Mississippi State and Kevin Minnell able to get out of the inning, but not before Samford tacks on the first run of the ball game to tie it up at 1-1. We're going to take a quick timeout, and we'll be back for the bottom of the third inning for Mississippi State bats to hop back on and tack on a few more runs. Due up will be Joe Powell, Bryce Chance, and Ace Reese. And we welcome you back out to the bottom of the third inning. It'll be Joe Powell, the senior catcher, due up to the plate. Brooks Rice, the right-handed pitcher for Samford, still on the mound in the windup. Kicks and deals. First pitch, the high fastball nearly hit Joe Powell right in the head, and That's the last thing that we need for Mississippi State. Ross Highfield injured due to a injury to the nose. High fastball right at the face, and now Joe Powell got scared there for a second.
Run out of catchers.
That's right. So the 1-0 pitch is fouled back to even up the count. Now the 1-1 offering from Rice is a ground ball rolled up the middle, and that is
tough
off
play.
the glove of Ince and into center field, and Joe Powell finds himself at first base.
Yeah, John, that's just one of those do or dies where you got to commit. And it's probably going to be an error ultimately, but not an easy play, especially when you're a second baseman playing, right in a weird spot over there, right behind second base in the shift. But that one just kind of got right up under his glove. He kind of came up a little bit too early. It snuck right under there.
That's right, and Ince and the rest of the Samford infield playing more to that left side in the shift. So now first pitch to Bryce Chance is a breaking ball at 79 on the outside. So that'll be ball one. So one runner on first base. Joe Powell finds himself at first after a fielding error from Jeffrey Ince. So Bryce Chance.
Not sure what was happening there.
Here's the home plate umpire had something to say to Brooks Rice. maybe it was potentially for him to get set. Maybe a warning after that. So Rice comes set at the belt. The 1-0 pitch. Another breaking ball outside for ball two.
Bryce Chance a really patient hitter. He's going to make you throw to him. But another good thing about it is he's really good hitting with two strikes. He's not a guy that's going to strike out a lot. He's not going to be uncomfortable hitting with two strikes.
That's right. So the changeup on the 2-0 pitch catches the inside for strike one. So 2 balls and 1 strike. Here with no outs, Joe Powell sitting at first base. We've got a tie ball game here at 1-1 at Duty Noble Field. Mississippi State scores in the bottom of the second inning, and then Samford responds in the top of the third inning. The 2-1 pitch is another breaking ball on the outside, so a 3-1 count coming up to Bryce Chance, the veteran outfielder from Mississippi State.
Rice really looking to work that outside corner. Hasn't found it yet, but you can tell that's kind of where he wants to sit.
3-1 pitch, a chopper over to the left side. Throw over to first, and that is out number 1. Bryce Chance hustling down that line. A good throw for McDonald. And that'll be out number 1. That'll advance Joe Powell to second base. So Joe Powell, the 9-hole hitter, now in scoring position. And Ace Reese, the third baseman tonight for Mississippi State, left-handed hitter, now steps up to the plate.
Again, John, we see the game within the game there. Whether it's a steal or a hit and run, keeps the Bulldogs out of a double play. Now you get one of your best hitters up with a runner at second base with only 1 out, looking to do some real damage.
So first pitch is fouled back over to the left side. Yeah, it's like you said, Elon. It's the game within the game, and Mississippi State's trying to do that tonight. Mississippi State loses the second conference series this past weekend on the road at Oklahoma and didn't win the game within the game. It's had lots of errors down the end of the road, down the end of the stretch to close out the game, but Mississippi State looking to respond in the midweek, as these are some very valuable games for Mississippi State to build the confidence.
Yeah, every game counts, especially once you start getting into the bowl.
1-1 pitch is roped down the first base line. That's gloved by Harris, and he'll tap the bag for out number 2. And so that'll advance Joe Powell. So Powell sits 90 feet away. And now Noah Sullivan, the best hitter on this Mississippi State squad, now due up to the plate. Sullivan now sits here on the season with 22 RBIs for Mississippi State. 4 home runs on the year.
one thing I've really liked about watching Sullivan hit is he's not afraid to use the opposite side of the field. There's been, and man, he just hits the ball so hard. I mean, even, some of his, he'll get jammed or maybe hit one off the end of the bat, and that exit velo is still, it's up there. You can just tell he's kind of got the making of a professional hitter.
Oh, no doubt. He's got some very strong capabilities. No doubt we'll see him in the big league someday. So that pitch is in the dirt for ball 2. So 2 balls and no strikes with 2 outs. Joe Powell sits at third base for Mississippi State. Brooks Rice in the stretch. 2-0 pitch as that's lifted high into shallow right field. Ranging back is Souders, and that'll be caught just before the Souders reaches the visitors' bullpen. So that'll be out number 3. No runs, no hits. 1 error, 1 runner left on base. That'll take us to the top of the 4th inning. We're going to step aside, and we'll be back all tied up here at Duty Noble at 1-1. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for the top of the 4th. And we are back for the top of the 4th inning now. Trey Higgins, the left fielder for Samford, the left-handed hitting left fielder, now steps up to the plate. Kevin Monell still on the mound. First pitch to Higgins is a changeup on the outer half for strike 1. Tie ball game here in the top of the 4th. All tied up at 1-1. Mississippi State with 3 hits.
That's a great pitch.
Curveball catches the outside corner for strike 2, so Kevin Monell starting to get settled in.
A backdoor breaking ball. It's so satisfying to watch.
0-2 pitch to Higgins.
Ooh.
Another breaking ball, a little low and outside for ball 1.
He went right back to the well, didn't he?
He did. Kevin Monell goes in his first inning pinch, gives up 1 hit and a run with 1 walk. Now the 1-2 pitch.
Oh.
Line drive right up the middle, nearly hits Monell. That'll roll right over to Bryce Chance. So no outs here in the top of the 4th and a base hit for Higgins. Now due up to the plate is the starting catcher tonight, Hayden Perry. He now bats 7th in the lineup for Samford. We have the 6, 7, and 8-hole hitter to start off here in this inning. Righty-righty matchup. Fastball outside for ball 1 to Perry.
One thing Samford's done a really good job of so far, John, I think they've gotten the leadoff batter on in every inning. Whether it's been a walk or a hit.
No doubt. That's especially against a pitching staff like Mississippi State. To be able to do that is very tough, as Samford looking to compete here in this game tonight. They're not letting down. Now the 1-1 pitch is fastball inside for ball 2, right at the belt of Hayden Perry. Perry now sits at a .223 batting average coming into this game, the junior catcher for the Bulldogs. Now the 2-1 pitch.
Good pitch.
Manel fires back to even up the count. So 2 balls and 2 strikes, no outs in the top of the 4th inning, all tied up 1-1. Now Higgins, the first baseman, sits at first base, and a big swing and a miss on the slider from Kevin Manel to get Hayden Perry swinging on that pitch for out number 1.
I tell you what, the slider's working tonight.
It is.
That's
working.
a pretty pitch. He had him way out in front of that one.
So now the second strikeout for the Mississippi State pitching staff tonight. Noah Sullivan gets one back in the first inning, now sitting in the top of the 4th. First pitch to Gus Gandy, the shortstop, for strike 1. Gandy, a right-handed hitter. So righty-righty matchup. Gandy, a freshman shortstop, sitting at a .281 batting average entering this game tonight. No home runs yet for the young shortstop. So he bats here in the 8th spot behind, just in front of Gumpton. Now the 0-1 pitch, off speed inside for strike 2. So Kevin Manel ahead in the count, trying to hunt another strikeout. So no balls and 2 strikes, 1 out away, and runner at first base. Kevin Manel in the stretch, comes set at the chest. The 0-2 pitch, another breaking ball as that's fouled back off the back netting here at Dudy Noble.
Yeah, he's really working that slider in well. The pitch mix is really good. He's got them all. The timing looks off on a lot of these hitters. Now it's just about location and execution.
0-2 pitch, runner going. Joe Powell throws over to second base, a strikeout, and the throw down to second base.
Yeah.
A bang-bang play, and Kevin Manel and the Bulldogs defense gets out of the top of the 4th.
I'm not sure if there was like a miscommunication of how many outs there were in the inning, but it looked like Higgins didn't even slide. I'm not really sure if he had just given up on the play or what was going on there.
I guess so, but nonetheless, Mississippi State takes advantage of the miscue, so a strikeout and a pickoff at second base, so a double play for Mississippi State. That'll take us to the bottom of the 4th, all knotted up at 1-1. We'll be back at the bottom of the 4th. Due up for Mississippi State, Hunter Hines, Aaron Downs, and Nolan Stevens. And we are back now for the bottom of the 4th inning. It'll be Brooks Rice still on the mound here in 3 innings of work. First pitch to Hunter Hines is off speed outside upstairs for ball 1. Hunter Hines struck out in his first at-bats when he faced Rice. Now the 1-0 pitch, another breaking ball in the dirt
I guess that
for ball 2.
Had to be low.
Now a righty-lefty matchup. Brooks Rice, the windup, kicks and deals. 2-0 pitch, fastball right down Broadway for strike one.
You think they're going to play the shift?
Well, with Hunter Hines being the big, tall lefty that he is, and he's known for pulling it down that right side. Now the 2-1 pitch, and that off speed flips off the glove of Perry, the starting catcher for Samford. So that's ball 3, so 3 balls and 1 strike. Now the 3-1 pitch to Hines, ground ball down the right side.
Hey.
And that clips right off of the dugout fence and right in the hands of first base coach for Mississippi State.
Heads up play.
So now a full count here with no outs. Payoff pitch is a breaking ball in the dirt, and a great at-bat for Hunter Hines after the strikeout in his first at-bat. He now finds a great at-bat and finds himself at first base. So now due up to the plate is Aaron Downs, who got a nice base hit laced into the left field in his first at-bat. And Aaron Downs comes into the season as a senior with not the most playing time, but has taken advantage here in his third year under Chris Lamonis, and now seeming to find his stride.
Yeah, John, I think we're starting to finally see the leap that we expected from him last year. He didn't really get a whole lot of chances to show it, but this year he's really taken advantage, as you said, of his chances. One of the hotter hitters on this team right now. Already got a hit in this one. He's going to look to stay hot. He's going to get a good chance. Starts with a 2-0 count.
First pitch was low in the dirt. Second pitch also low in the dirt. Another off speed. So a 2-0 count. 2 balls and no strikes with no outs, and Hunter Hines at first base. A righty-righty matchup. Brooks Rice in the stretch. The stretch in the pitch, and that's the fastball lifted into shallow right field. And the right fielder can't find it, and that drops right in front of Souders. And so Aaron Downs will be safe at first base, and Hunter Hines now advances to second base. And a heads-up play right there for Souders, as he took a step back and could not find the ball in the bright lights here at Dudy Noble.
And I think the scorekeeper's going to give him a base hit, John.
Scorekeeper says it's a base hit, and you look at Brooks Rice, and he shrugs after that, and that's just a tough play right there.
Oh, man. Very frustrating play.
And for Brooks Rice, who's having a pretty solid outing so far through 3 innings, only giving up 3 hits and 1 earned run, along with 2 walks and a strikeout.
Yeah, and as a pitcher, it's only one thing you can do, and that's do your job. And it's really frustrating when things like that, they happen, and unfortunately they do happen. I mean, you lose a ball in the lights or you lose a ball in the sun. I've seen it, so many times. But
too many to count.
What really matters is kind of how you respond. We're going to look to see how Rice responds after that.
So runners at first and second. First pitch to Nolan Stevens is off speed on the inside corner for strike one. Nolan Stevens, one of the more hotter hitters in this lineup for Mississippi State, the left-handed hitting sophomore outfielder, now sits at .375 batting average. Now with the big opportunity with runners at first and second.
That ball's
hit. Lifted into deep right field, and that's a little bit too far right, and that'll be foul. Down the foul territory, and Eli, if that's straightened out just a little bit, that is a 3-run shot, no doubter for Stevens.
Those are so, especially here in the stadium with the Ring of Honor out there in right field and little indention, it's so hard to tell because it's over the foul pole, right? So you really can't. These umpires have to do a really good job of watching that. And
very tough to gauge. The 0-2 pitch is grounder over to second base, rolls it in the middle for the double play. So Nolan Stevens grounds into a double play. That is a ground ball, hard hit over to Jeffrey Ince, tosses over to Gandy. So that'll be a 4-6-3 double play.
I'll tell you what.
That'll be one of those things that Mississippi State might look back on after the end of this game.
Yeah, it's so frustrating for Stevens because you miss a home run by a couple of feet. But what do they say? Ground ball, double played, pitcher's best friend. Rice. You got the right field mistake out there by Souders. And what does he do, right? He doesn't skip a beat. He comes right back in, pumps it through in the zone, forces the Mississippi State to put a bat on it, and he still trusts his defense to go and make a play, and that's what they did.
So now Gatlin Sanders, first pitcher to him is low and outside for ball one. So Brooks Rice comes set, the 1-0 pitch. That is off the inside part of the bat, and that is a chopper over to the Mississippi State dugout. So that'll even up the count at 1-1 with 2 outs away here in the bottom of the fourth. Hunter Hines now sitting 90 feet away after Mississippi State had runners at first and second with no outs, and Nolan Stevens rounds into a double play.
Do we have here?
Quick conversation between the umpires here tonight. It'll be Lance Weems, Joseph Smith, Danny Cricks, and Eddie Loggins having a quick conversation right out in front of the pitcher's mound. Not exactly sure what the conversation is, but something important. Nonetheless, like I was saying just earlier, Hunter Hines sits at third base. Nolan Stevens grounds into a 4-6-3 double play. But now Gatlin Sanders, the starting second baseman here tonight, gets an opportunity to drive in another run for Mississippi State to take the lead. Gatlin Sanders gets the start on Sunday against Oklahoma, as he was splitting some time between Sawyer Reeves, who goes 2 for 4 in the Friday night game, goes 3 for 4 in the Saturday game, and then Gatlin Sanders gets the start on Sunday to replace him at second base, takes advantage. He gets 2 for 1, and I believe, Eli, so Gatlin Sanders, he gets sent over to first base. I believe it was a catcher's interference on that play.
That's what I'm thinking. Would have to be.
Still waiting for confirmation on the call. And that is confirmed. So it'll be a catcher's interference after Gatlin Sanders, it appeared to make a check swing, and the ball went into the dugout, but it appeared that the catcher's interference affected his swing right there. And so now it'll be a mound visit for Samford after that. So runners at the corners and a mound visit for Samford.
You don't see many catcher's interference on a check swing. That's a pretty funky play.
A check
but yeah,
swing,
I mean,
yeah. And that's the right call as we look over here on the video board. So nonetheless, Gatlin Sanders will head over to first base, and Hunter Hines at third base. Now Dylan Cupp, he sits at the 8th spot here in the batting order. Typically sits at the 9th spot, but he swaps places with Joe Powell. And let's talk about Dylan Cupp, who's arguably taken one of the, maybe he's not become, maybe he's been a little bit overlooked, but Dylan Cupp has taken some leaps in his batting average in his time here at Mississippi State. Not known for his bat coming into Mississippi State, known for his glove, but now starting to have some solid at-bats.
Yeah, he really has, John, and that's one thing State fans and coaches alike are going to be, they're really excited to kind of see that blossoming with him. They always knew he was capable of it. Obviously, the glove's there. He's got really good speed. He can move. A really good arm over there at the shortstop position. Makes a lot of tough throws. But one thing that was kind of the concern was his bat. And this year, he's kind of taken a little bit of a jump.
Yeah, no doubt. So
only a sophomore.
1-0 pitch is breaking ball inside for strike one, so 1-1 count.
He's got a lot of time to develop still, obviously. But would not be surprised if this is one of those 5-tool guys that you kind of see that Mississippi State has produced so many of.
No doubt.
Just keep his name on the list.
Absolutely. Just talking shortly about former shortstop Jordan Westberg, now playing for Baltimore Orioles. So a check swing from Dylan Cupp. The first base umpire said that Dylan Cupp did not swing. Joseph Smith says he didn't go, so a 2-1 count here with 2 outs away in the bottom of the fourth. Runners at first and third base. A shift over towards the left side to Dylan Cupp. 2-1 pitch is a breaking ball in the dirt, so 3 balls and 1 strike here with 2 outs. Now, and Brooks Rice has a big at-bat coming up. Big pitch due up to Dylan Cupp as Rice comes set in the stretch at the belt. The 3-1 offering. Fastball outside, and that'll be ball 4. Another great at-bat from Dylan Cupp. And that'll bring up bases loaded. And Joe Powell, the senior catcher, with a massive opportunity for Mississippi State.
Yeah, he's going to have a big one here. Bases loaded. Struggled with bases loaded last weekend. This is really where you want to see him break the cold streak, right? What a better opportunity. Close game, 2 outs. Get up here, be confident.
Now Joe Powell, the right-handed hitter. Righty-righty matchup to Brooks Rice. First pitch is a check swing right to the visitor's dugout, and a man down. Appeared to be the catcher for Samford, as he might have hit him right in the chest and knocked him down, but
I think I was going to say, luckily may have avoided the face area there.
So check swing, so that's 1 strike, a 0-1 pitch, and that's popped up. And that'll enter right into the grandstands in the first base line. So count quickly 0-2. Now to Joe Powell here with 2 outs and bases loaded. It'll be Cupp at first, Sanders at second, Hines at third. Brooks Rice leans in and gets the sign. Comes set at the belt. Now the 0-2 offering. Swing and a miss. And that was actually fouled at the very edge of the bat for Joe Powell, just ever so slightly.
Talk about staying alive.
Game of inches. Joe Powell behind to the count, 0-2. Arguably the biggest at-bat of the night so far here at the bottom of the 4th. With bases loaded and 2 outs. Rice comes set at the chest. The 0-2 pitch. Another breaking ball outside, and that'll be ball 1. A great eye from Joe Powell.
It's a major league take. I mean, that's it's right on
That
the
is
black.
tough. Joe Powell coming into this at-bat at a 150 batting average. Now replacing Ross Highfield. Bases loaded, 2 outs. The 1-2 pitch. Off the bat once again, right into the Samford dugout. And now the Samford team is thinking that he's out for this team.
A little
2 straight line drives into the Samford dugout.
Some looks being thrown his way right there. 2 straight foul balls into that dugout.
Joe Powell and the Samford defense playing in the shift, trying to hit it towards that right side. The 1-2 pitch, fouled back.
Staying alive. Good AB.
70 miles an hour. And Joe Powell fighting during this at-bat. Joe Powell, senior out of Ohio. Samford defense in the shift with 2 outs. Bases loaded, the 1-2 pitch. Another breaking ball inside, and a great take from Powell. So that'll even up the count. Deuces on the board. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Anything could happen here with bases loaded. Bottom of the 4th inning, all knotted up 1-1.
This crowd's ready to get on their feet for something.
Rice comes set. The 2-2 pitch. Fastball, and that's lifted into right field.
Great
They take
AB.
it down for a base hit. 1 run scores. Another comes across. And a 2-out RBI single for Joe Powell. And that'll tack on 2 more runs, and Mississippi State takes the lead 3-1 here in the bottom of the 4th.
I tell you what, he's going to get a real nice boost in the film room after this. What an AB. Fouled off numerous amount of pitches. Had 2 really good takes. That one on the outside, that's a major league take. I mean, slider on the outside, black. Tried to go the opposite way into that gap, and he did. He trusted his hands, stayed through the baseball, sent a line drive right to that right center field. Scores 2 runs. Welcome back, Joe Powell.
Welcome back, Joe Powell. And you could tell that Joe Powell was trying to do what he wanted to do, and he did exactly that on the base hit. The Samford defense was playing towards the left side, playing in the shift. The right-handed hitter, Joe Powell, usually pulls it over to that left side, but Joe Powell goes opposite field and gets a base hit into shallow right field, and that'll bring in 2 more runs, so 2-out RBI single for Joe Powell, and that'll definitely boost the batting average by 40 points after that. And after that base hit, that'll bring out a pitching change for Samford. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back to talk a little bit about John Malone. Lead 3-1 in the bottom of the 4th. You're listening to Mississippi State Baseball, the Bulldogs Student Sports Network. And we welcome you back to the bottom of the 4th inning, and a 2-out RBI single from Joe Powell brings in 2 runs for Mississippi State to take the lead 3-1. Now new pitcher on the mound for Samford will be John Malone. Comes into this game with a 0 ERA through his 6 appearances here this season. This is his 6th appearance, as he's pitched 5 1/3, giving up only 2 hits on the season. He's got 8 Ks along with 7 walks. And the 0-1 pitch to Bryce Chance is jammed, fouled back. So Chance behind at the count 0-2. Here with 2 outs.
Yeah, we're going to get to see Bryce Chance here hit with 2 strikes. We've seen him do it before. He's comfortable with it. Really good professional hitter. See, he's going to try and get in a run here with a base hit, 2-out RBIs. That's kind of been the theme for this Mississippi State team, John. The 2-out RBIs.
2-out RBIs have kept them alive. The 0-2 pitch, breaking ball in the dirt.
Oh, I got behind him.
Unable to find it. It is the catcher, Perry. And so Joe Powell, with his great base running, a great secondary lead after that, finds his way at second base. So pass ball for Samford now puts Mississippi State with runners at second and third and 2 outs. And the leadoff hitter, Bryce Chance, with a 1-2 count. So bottom of the 3rd, Mississippi State leads 3-1 over Samford. New pitcher, John Malone, comes in. Now the 1-2 pitch, another breaking ball. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs.
Really good job of Chance evening up this count. You just never really see him uncomfortable.
You really don't. Bryce Chance is a veteran here at Mississippi State, here in his junior year. He's been here a couple years, has plenty of playing time. 2-2 pitch, fastball, jams Chance as that finds its way over in front of the visitors' dugout.
May have been a little self-defense swing.
Doubt.
Got in there in a hurry.
Very high and tight for Bryce Chance. So runners at second and third, 2 outs, a 2-2 count to Bryce Chance. Malone comes set at the chest. 2-2 pitch. And
Oh.
high fastball. That gets off the glove of Perry, and another run comes across for Mississippi State. Dylan Cupp with the great base running, and Mississippi State adds another run. Now another insurance run for Mississippi State to lead by 3 runs, 4-1 over Samford Bulldogs. So the bat continues to stay alive for Bryce Chance as he takes a wild pitch on the 2-2 count. So now count is full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. The 3-2 offering, ground ball, chopper down the left line. That rolls foul. So Joe Powell started off the 2-out rally for Mississippi State, took a 2-2 fastball into shallow right field for a 2-out RBI single. He now sits at third base. John Malone took over for the starting pitcher tonight, Brooks Rice, in relief. So now full count to Bryce Chance, the payoff pitch.
Oh.
Bryce Chance goes down on strikes in an inside breaking ball. And this Mississippi State crowd is in disbelief. Nonetheless, Mississippi State adds 3 more runs in the bottom of the 4th. And that'll do it for the 4th inning. We're going to step aside, and we'll be back for the top of the 5th inning with Kevin Manell still on the mound for Mississippi State. Now back for the top of the 5th inning. Kevin Manell back in the game on the mound for Mississippi State. Mississippi State back in the bottom of the 4th inning. Goes for a 3 spot thanks to Joe Powell starting off the 2-out rally with a RBI single into right field. Now Kevin Manell in the game. First pitch to Michael Gupton, the 9-hole hitter for Samford, is a breaking ball inside for ball 1.
Samford with a 4-inning streak of getting the leadoff guy on here. Manell's going to try and break that up. I think the Bulldogs are sick of that.
Now the 1-0 pitch, a big swing and a miss from Michael Gupton. Was on his knee after that pitch.
Boy, he took a hack.
No doubt. So 38 pitches for Manell, the 1-1, another big swing and a miss on the breaking ball at 86. So Manell ahead in the count, 1-2 with no outs here in the top of the 5th. Mississippi State leads 4-1 after being tied up at the end of the 3rd. So Manell comes set at the chest. The 1-2 pitch. Chopper down the first baseline. Grabbed by Hines. Nowhere to go is Gupton. He tags Gupton for out number 1. Great heads-up play right there for Hines to secure the ball and tag Gupton for out number 1.
Yeah, and I don't want this to go overlooked. Hunter Hines, though he has his struggles at the plate recently, this year anyway, has really developed into a fantastic defensive first baseman, John.
No doubt. He is he's rated one of the highest rated first basemen here in the country. And, he came into Mississippi State and has since flourished. So now a pitching change. So Justin Parker takes a mound visit, and that'll be the end of Kevin Manell's time here tonight. And it'll be Dane Burns, the left-handed pitcher.
Freshman.
The freshman lefty has a pretty interesting sidearm action. Provides some different looks here in this Bulldog bullpen. He comes into this game with a 6 ERA here in his few outings as a Bulldog. Freshman has been pitched in 6 innings. He's given up 5 hits and 4 runs, 4 of those earned runs, along with 6 walks and 10 strikeouts. Dane Burns with some pretty interesting tattoos on his right arm. No tattoos on his throwing arm. Likes to pitch from the windup.
Got the 3/4 delivery.
3/4 delivery, and sits around 91, 92 fastball, and can spin it as well. But we're going to step aside and we're going to let Dane Burns warm up. So we'll be back after this pitching change here to finish out the top of the 5th inning. And we are back after the pitching change for Mississippi State. Kevin Manell goes 2 innings pitched, 2 1/3 innings pitched, gives up 2 hits, 1 run, along with a walk and 2 strikeouts. So now Jeffrey Ince, the switch hitting second baseman. Now for Samford up to bat, takes first pitch for a strike. Dane Burns in the game. Like we said earlier, comes into this game with a 6 ERA, the left-handed pitcher. Second pitch is a chopper over to third base, gloved by Ace Reese, the third baseman, and throws across the diamond for out number 2. As Kevin Manell was able to get through the first out of the top of the 5th inning, so 2 outs away. Here with Dane Burns now in the game as the left-handed pitcher takes over for Manell. So 2 down here in the top of the 5th. Mississippi State leads 4-1 over the Samford Bulldogs. First pitch to Jackson Harris, the first baseman. Inside fastball for strike 1. And Eli, I'm curious your thoughts on this Mississippi State bullpen. This is some of the fastest pitching that Mississippi State has had in a while.
Yeah, it really is, and it's fun to watch. It's electric stuff, especially when they're on. You can locate it. You're watching guys. But that's kind of the way the league as a whole and college baseball as a whole, as well as the pros, is kind of moving towards, right? You don't see a lot of guys with that 93, 94 anymore. It's all 97, 98. And more consistently, you're starting to see the triple digits. Which is insane, by the way. I don't know how these kids, they do it, but, you had...
1-2 pitch now. Off speed inside.
Last year...
to even up the count.
You had Chase Burns at Wake Forest, transfer from Tennessee, who's now on the Cincinnati Reds. you had Ben Joyce, who also played for Tennessee. He was throwing, 104. At that point, you're not even seeing anything.
Fast pitching. The 2-2 pitch is a fastball in the inside corner. Gets a swing and a miss from Harris. And so that'll do it. Another inside fastball, some inside heat for Dane Burns. High and tight. And so that'll do it for the top of the 5th inning. That'll take us to the bottom of the 5th, and Mississippi State leads over Samford 4-1. And the Bulldogs look to tack on a few more insurance runs with Ace Reese, Noah Sullivan, and Hunter Hines due up. Top of the 5th inning. And we are back now, due up to the plate. The 2-hole hitter for Mississippi State, Ace Reese, starts at third base tonight. He grounded out his first at bat and ground out to first base in his second. So 0 for 2 on the day. John Malone, who took over for relief for Brooks Rice, still in the game, as he started in the bottom of the 4th inning. He goes through a third of an inning, gets a strikeout to Bryce Chance, the right-handed hitter, now set at the chest. First pitch to Ace Reese is a fastball at 90 miles an hour on the outer half.
Yeah, both times Reese has come up so far, he's grounded out, hard ground outs, both to that first base side. Samford's not afraid to give him that entire left side of the infield, John. I'm interested to see. Well,
and a ground ball to the left side, and the shift over to the right side, and Ace Reese takes advantage of it. And Eli Sykes spoke it into existence.
Couldn't even get it out of my mouth.
The shift was played completely over to the right side, and third baseman McDonald was hanging out over by Jeffrey Ince, the former Mississippi State Bulldog, and Ace Reese, the left-handed hitter, just stuck his bat out and took it opposite field. And that's what we've seen a lot today, is Samford's tested this Mississippi State offense. We saw it with Joe Powell, and he pulled through with an RBI base hit with 2 outs. And now Ace Reese starting off the bottom of the 5th now with a base hit. So Mississippi State now with 5 base hits on the night. They lead 4-1 over Samford. First pitch to Noah Sullivan's a inside fastball for a ball. So the 1-0 pitch is a breaking ball at 80 miles an hour from John Malone. Gets a swing and a miss from Sullivan to even up the count.
Yeah, that was nasty.
That's right. And so Noah Sullivan has unable to get anything really going here this evening. One of the best batters in the country, best batter on this Mississippi State team, unable to find a hit tonight against Samford. Takes inside fastball for ball 2. So 2 balls and 1 strike here with no outs. Runner at first base, Ace Reese.
One thing that makes Malone so effective, John, I think you probably see this too, the arm slot there, when he goes from breaking ball.
2-1 pinch is a grounder up the middle. Tosses over to the shortstop, and a double play for Samford. So another 4-6-3 double play. And Noah Sullivan has not had the night that most fans would expect.
Got the double play bug tonight.
Yeah, it's a couple double plays, and this Samford defense has shown out tonight. And now Hunter Hines now due up to the plate here with 2 outs. 0 for 1 on the day. He struck out in his first at bat and walked and scored a run in his second. So now Hunter Hines due up, the big left-handed hitter, with another shift over to the right side, and a check swing is a chopper right over to Malone, who'd toss it over to the first baseman Harrison. That'll be out number 3, a double play and a ground out to the first baseman, a 1-3 at that. So no runs, no hits, no errors, no runners left on base. We're going to step aside real quick as Mississippi State heads to the top of the 6th inning, still with a 3-run lead as Mississippi State leads 4-1 over Samford. Four to 1 ball game here in the top of the 6th inning as Mississippi State looking to shut the door on the Samford Bulldogs as Dane Burns, the third pitcher tonight for Mississippi State. Now the first pitch to Cade Carr is a chopper down the first base line, caught by Hunter Hines. Stumbles on his way over to first, but able to regain his balance, and a quick out number 1 for the Bulldogs. So 1 out away here in the top of the 6th inning. Dane Burns only with 9 pitches so far here in this outing. He had a quick appearance in his first inning of work.
Yeah, how about that play, Hunter Hines? Get up, big fella.
Yeah, we were talking about Hunter Hines and his ability to transition over to first base, and first pitch fastball over to Souders, the outfielder for Samford. Takes it opposite field, out of play. Thought that might have stayed in play, but that enters the right field berm. So a lefty-righty matchup. Dane Burns. Now the 0-1 pitch. Off speed at 83, clips the outside corner. So after the foul ball and the off speed on the outside corner, now Burns ahead in the count, ahead of Souders rather. 1 out away, the 0-2 pitch, and a big swing and a miss on the off speed. So a fastball and back-to-back off-speed pitches get Souders swinging. So after that, Dane Burns with some very efficient pitches so far.
Yeah, the off-speed's working tonight.
No doubt about it. A 1-2-3 out right there for Burns, and Parker McDonald now due up to the plate. Another lefty-righty matchup. Parker McDonald is 0 for 2 on the day. Flied out to center field and lined out to left field in his 2 at-bats. Takes first pitch for a ball. 1-0 pitch is a fastball on the outer half for strike one to even up the count.
Yeah, Burns is going to fill it up. He's one of those guys that's going to make you hit the ball. He trusts his defense. We kind of talked about it a little earlier with Noah Sullivan. He's going to go the same way, right? Not going to walk a lot of guys. If you hit me, you hit me, but you're not going to beat me by walking the bases. And so far, he's getting a lot of good swing and misses. The timing's off on these hitters.
That's right.
He's going to put away another one right here.
Yeah, the 1-1 pitch was a swing and a miss on the off speed. Now the 1-2 pitch, and that's fouled down the right line off the netting behind the visitors' dugout, protecting those fans and the grandstands. So now count remains the same. 1 ball and 2 strikes here with 2 outs. The 1-2 offering and another swing and a miss. So 2 strikeouts for Dane Burns. And that'll do it. Some very efficient work. 16 pitches now for Dane Burns here in his inning and 2/3. And that'll take us now to the bottom of the 6th inning. Mississippi State holding on to that 3-run lead. 4-1 now over Samford. That'll take us to the bottom of the 6th. We're going to step aside, and we'll be back with Aaron Downs, Nolan Stevens, and Gatlin Sanders due up for the Bulldogs. And we welcome you back to the bottom of the 6th inning. A 3-run lead for Mississippi State, 4-1. And now Aaron Downs now due up to the plate. He's 2 for 2 on the day.
Oh.
First pitch is a very high pop-up behind home plate, ranging back as Perry, and that ball remains in play.
Wow.
And so a first pitch for Aaron Downs is a pop-up to the catcher. So 1 out away here in the bottom of the 6th. Aaron Downs a pop-up to the catcher, and 1 away here in the bottom of the 6th.
It's a really good play by Perry. Those pop flies, you're always taught turn your back towards the field of play because it's always going to come back towards you. Really good example of that. A really good play. Those are always tough.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when they're that high in the air.
That high, and with the lights so bright here tonight, pitch black. And so now Nolan Stevens takes first pitch fastball inside in the dirt for ball 1. 1 down here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Here in the infield, shifted over to the right for Nolan Stevens, the left-handed hitter.
Ooh.
Another check swing on the off speed at 80 miles an hour. So 2 balls and no strikes here with 1 out. So third base will be hanging out. Be McDonald hanging out where shortstop usually is, and then it'll be Gandy and Ince shifted over. So a hard hit ground ball right over to second base. Now it'll be a ground out for Nolan Stevens.
I tell you what, we're tearing that spot up.
No doubt. I think a very standard infield that might be a tough play for Jeffrey Ince to make, but I think majority of the time that's getting up the middle. But nonetheless, Gatlin Sanders, the starting second baseman tonight, Now due up to the plate, you have a righty-lefty matchup with John Malone. The left-handed hitter now, Gatlin Sanders.
Yeah, Samford has shown they're not afraid to shift.
Absolutely not. I believe there's been a shift on just about every single batter that's hit tonight.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So now McDonald playing back towards a typical third baseman position, and now it'll be Ince playing in shallow right field. Gandy will be just on the right edge of second base, and Harris playing about 5 yards just behind the first base bag. So now a 2-0 count now to Sanders. Now the fastball on the inside corner to get back in the count. So 2 balls and 1 strike here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. John Malone comes set at the chest. The stretch and the pitch. Big swing and a miss from Sanders. Can't catch the fastball right there with the high fastball.
Yeah, Malone's done a really good job of damage control so far in this one, John. He's been in some tough situations, and he's gotten out of them. He's given Samford a chance. He's doing his job, and he's doing it well. He's giving his offense a chance to get him back into this one.
Malone through 2 innings pitched, only giving up a hit, and has a strikeout. And so he'll toss that ball back in exchange for a brand new one.
Yeah, he didn't like that one.
Now through 2 innings, he's been very efficient. Only 19 pitches so far, and has a strikeout. Trying to keep that perfect ERA intact as a Samford Bulldog. Now a 2-2 count here with 2 outs. 2-2 pitch. Low fastball. Can't catch the batter's box. So now can't catch the strike zone. So now full count coming up to Gatlin Sanders. As Malone leans in, gets the sign, comes set at the chest. Payoff pitch. Curveball, and that's tipped off the bat of Gatlin Sanders.
Right off the foot.
Right off the foot of Sanders.
It just does not feel good.
Absolutely not. So 2 outs away. Infield still in the shift. The payoff pitch, fastball.
Ooh.
Sanders tried to take it the other way, but that's a foul ball down the left field line. That'll deflect right off of the netting guarding the grandstands on the left field line. Just down third base. So now count remains the same. A full count. Now for Malone. The stretch in the pitch. And that's a line drive. That'll get down just over the second baseman. And that'll drop right in front of Gupton in center field.
Again, we see another Bulldog with a really good AB with 2 strikes. Just put it in play, shorten up, put it in play. That's what he did. He fouled off a couple pitches. Got one he liked. He sent it right back up the middle for a line drive base hit right over that second baseman Ince's head. Just a really good job of hitting with 2 strikes. That's one thing that Mississippi State's done really well tonight.
No doubt. Yeah, Gatlin Sanders has stepped up a little bit. He's hovering just under that 400 mark. Actually, after that base hit, that puts him above 400, sitting at 406, one of the better hitters on this team. In his limited at-bats, he's a little bit behind in that category as he's now sits at around 33 at-bats on the season, but not too far behind some of these guys. First pitch to Cup is a ball. Second pitch, another breaking ball that catches inside. Great frame by the catcher, Perry.
Ooh, man.
And so that'll even up the count at 1-1. So 2 outs away here in the bottom of the 6th. Mississippi State looking to add a few more insurance runs with John Malone in relief for Brooks Rice. 1-1 pitch is inside. Perry unable to gather it. Gatlin Sanders steals second base, slides in with his legs. And on the 1-1 pitch, he's able to get across to second. So Dylan Cupp now with an opportunity. If he can find some open grass, he can bring in another run for Mississippi State. And Gatlin Sanders, a very speedy second baseman, can find his way back home. 2-1 pitch. Fastball outside for Dylan Cupp. Looking to find another great at-bat. Here now sits at 3 balls and 1 strike here with 2 outs. Sanders sitting in scoring position at second base. Now John Malone comes set at the chest in the stretch. The stretch and the pitch. 3-1 pitch is outside, and Dylan Cupp with another great at-bat. So Cupp will walk over to first base. Now runners at first and second with 2 outs. And Joe Powell once again with an opportunity to drive in some more runs. He did it last time up and has another opportunity with the same situation.
Dylan Cupp is just seeing the ball so well right now, John. He's not chasing. He's letting the pitcher come to him, and he's just taking what he's going to get. You know, if you want to walk him, great. He's fine with that. You know, he's trying to get on base. That's what he wants. Again, just a really good AB with 2 outs. Stay hot, Joe Powell.
Now Joe Powell, after the great at-bat from Dylan Cupp. Cupp sits at first. Gatlin Sanders sits at second base. Sanders with a base hit, and Cupp with a walk. Joe Powell, right-handed catcher, a senior out of Iowa. 1 for 2 on the day, like we mentioned earlier, with a 2-out RBI single into right field. Brought in a few runs from Mississippi State. Now the 1-0 pitch, that's taking the other direction, but that's out of play.
He's got such a good-looking swing.
He really does. It's very fundamental. Joe Powell has the characteristics and the traits, just needs to piece it all together here this season. Infield playing in the shift down the left side. 1-1 pitch, fastball outside.
Oh.
Gatlin Sanders with a hefty lead, and Perry said, I'm going to try to keep you as close to that bag as possible. Tries to pick off over at second base and applied the tag, and a near close play right there, but
That's one thing about this shift that Samford's in. They have the second baseman ends playing right behind second. So it's really hard for Sanders to keep an eye on him.
And here's John Malone's.
Was he toeing the rubber there? What just happened?
I'm not exactly sure what the commotion is. John Malone calling time, I believe.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe something with the pitch comms.
So John Malone now steps back up to the rubber. 2-1 pitch to Joe Powell, a check swing. First base umpire says that he did not go around.
He may have gotten away with one there.
That was a close play right there. So 3-1 count. John Malone takes over for relief for Brooks Rice. He now has 36 pitches. Now through 2 innings. 3-1 pitch. Off speed and a swing and a miss from Joe Powell. To even up to now make the count full at 3 balls and 2 strikes here with 2 outs. Joe Powell took a 2-2 pitch into right field in his last at-bat. Now has a 3-2 pitch with 2 outs. The 3-2 offering. Another swing and a miss, and that'll be strike 3, and Joe Powell goes down on strikes with runners at first and second base. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 runners left on base. We're going to step aside, and we'll be back for the top of the 7th inning. You're listening to Mississippi State Baseball on the Bulldog Student Radio. We are back now for the top of the 7th inning. It'll be Mekhi Grant to take over for Dane Burns. Dane Burns goes an inning and 2/3. He leads with the most strikeouts for Mississippi State tonight with 3 strikeouts. Gives up no hits and no earned runs. So a great outing for Dane Burns is now Mekhi Grant, the freshman out of Stonebridge, Georgia. Right-handed pitcher. Wears number 4 behind his jersey. On the back of his jersey now, 97 on the gun. A low fastball in the dirt to Trey Higgins, the left fielder.
Yeah, John, this freshman can sling it. There's no doubt about the talent that he has. You see 96 there.
1-0 pitch, a fastball, swing and a miss.
He's got the stuff. If that, you know what I mean? And when you say that about a pitcher, when they can put it all together, they're really fun to watch. They're really electric. And this kid's got all the traits, all the makings of a really good ball player.
That's right, 1-0 pitch.
Really excited to watch him.
Fastball outside, 2-1. Now the 2-1 pitch is out. Another fastball, and that catches the lower part of the calf of Trey Higgins. So a hit by pitch now for Higgins, and so a leadoff runner, a free base for the Samford Bulldogs, and now the catcher, Hayden Perry, due up to the plate.
Yeah, we've both been there. 96 to the leg. That does not feel good.
I could say that I have not been there, and I'm glad I haven't. So now Hayden Perry, the catcher, had some athletic plays, had a pop-up from Aaron Downs. Showed off his athleticism there. First pitch to Hayden Perry is a fastball at 96 on the outer half for ball 1. So 1 ball and no strikes here with no outs. A leadoff base runner with a hit by pitch. The 1-0 pitch, breaking ball, catches the inside for strike 1 at 84.
Goodness. 96 to 84.
No doubt. And you have a guy that can touch near 100 and then drop it 15 miles an hour. That can do some damage for the young pitcher. Now the 1-1 pitch. Off speed at 86, clips the outside. So now Mekhi Grant ahead in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. No outs. A runner at first base. Mississippi State leads 4-1 here in the top of the 7th. Mekhi Grant, the freshman pitcher, now on the mound for the Bulldogs. 1-2 pitch is fouled back.
You know, I feel like the all-speed stuff, I've kind of touched on it a lot tonight, has been there all night kind of for Mississippi State. And what's really kind of been the deciding factor for the pitching staff so far is where their fastball is. And, you know, we saw Dane Burns, what an effective outing he had. He was able to locate that fastball. He got 3 strikeouts, and
3 strikeouts.
that's really been the difference.
1-2 pitch, runner going, and that's fouled back. No doubt, yeah. And you talk about efficient. Dane Burns goes an inning and 2/3 with only 16 pitches. And if that's not efficient, I don't know what is.
Yeah, it's 8 pitches an inning, I guess.
Near 2 innings pitched, and about half the pitches less than Noah Sullivan.
Yeah.
Now the 1-2 pitch, a breaking ball to Hayden Perry, and he goes down on strikes. A breaking ball from Mekhi Grant, and Perry goes down looking.
Yeah, you take a look at this. I mean, he just kind of froze him there. Never got the bat off the shoulder. He knew he immediately started walking back to the dugout. He knew.
So after that, that is the 6th strikeout for the Mississippi State pitching staff. So now with the runner at first base, Mekhi Grant tries to pick off over at first base to Trey Higgins. So now due up to the plate is Gus Gandy, the 8-hole hitter here in the lineup. He wears number 3 on the back of his jersey. Righty-righty matchup, the right-handed hitter with the right-handed pitcher, Mekhi Grant. The stretch in the pitch. The first pitch is fastball, catches the outside corner for strike 1. Gus Gandy, shortstop, sitting at a .278 batting average. Gandy 0 for 2 on the day with a fly out to center field and a strikeout. Now the 0-1 pitch is a ground ball. That'll roll over to the left side, and Trey Higgins was running on that pitch. Tried to steal, but another foul ball. So Mekhi Grant now ahead in the count over Gus Gandy. No balls and 2 strikes. 1 down here in the top of the 7th. Mississippi State leads by 3. Now leading 4-1 over Samford. Makai Grant in the stretch. The 0-2 and a swing and a miss. And another strikeout for Makai Grant. Back-to-back strikeouts here in the top of the 7th.
That's a really good pitch. It's a really good pitch.
And he's got them both on the breaking ball.
When you get him 0-2 with a guy like Makai Grant, look how it just snaps down. I mean, it's almost unfair. You don't know what he's going to go. He's got so much. He could go 98 top of the zone or break off a breaking ball like that. It's just really, it's almost unfair to a hitter. I don't envy.
It's almost unfair. First pitch, breaking ball, a slider outside for ball 1. Now to Michael Gupton, the 9-hole hitter for Samford. 0 for 2 on the day. Now Trey Higgins still sits at first base. Ground ball, a hard hit ball to Ace Reese that deflects right off of the glove. Runner going.
He had him at second.
And now a stand-up double. Now for Gupton, the 9-hole hitter, and that takes us to the top of the order. And it'll be Trey Higgins who finds his way, advances from first all the way to third, and a hard hit ground ball to Ace Reese that hits right off the glove and bounces off the thigh and winds its way into shallow left field. And Aaron Downs has to try to make a play in time for Trey Higgins, who's hustling down the line.
Yeah, just a brutal hop. And yeah, really good heads-up base running by both players. Gupton saw that the throw was going to go to third, and he knew they had plenty of time to get to second. Really fast. Plus fielder out there in center field with that kind of speed.
Right. Bang, bang play right there. So first pitch to leadoff hitter Ince. Inside fastball for ball 1. So now the 1-0 pitch is another fastball that gets away. Actually, that clips right off of the elbow of Jeffrey Ince, and he kind of shrugged off that with nothing as that kind of clipped just off of the protective gear for Jeffrey Ince. So just like that, Eli, bases loaded, 2 outs here in the top of the 7th, and Makai Grant is going to have to get out of this by himself.
I tell you what, John, and that's kind of been
Parker already going to make a mound visit.
It's kind of been the story of the Bulldogs this season so far when it comes to things like that. We had many instances in Oklahoma where, you should have been out of the inning, and what ends up happening is, you make an error, or, whatever the case may be, Oklahoma ends up scoring a couple runs on you, game gets away from you a little bit. But it's kind of the same scenario. We get a hard hit ball to third base. Ace Reese gets a glove on it, but just a brutal hop. And, you blink of an eye. We got bases loaded here with 2 outs and the top of the order back up. And that's kind of been the story of Mississippi State's season. We just can't get out of it.
It really has. Kind of dig yourself into a little bit of a hole, but now this is the time where you're in a non-conference game and you have the lead right now. This is where you kind of try to build that momentum back, build that confidence back, say like, hey, if we get into these tough situations, we're strong enough and we're built for this moment that we can get out of it. So 2 outs away, bases loaded. Jackson Harris, the 2-hole hitter, takes first pitch breaking ball in the outer half for strike 1, and Makai Grant looking to stay back in this game after a mound visit from Coach Parker. Comes set at the chest. 0-2 pitch, the chopper down the first base line, and Grant ahead in the count, 0-2 here with 2 outs. Now runners Jeffrey Ince, after a hit by pitch, sits at first base. Michael Gupton with a double sits at second base. Higgins, who was at first, advanced to third. So Makai Grant, the 0-2 pitch now to Harris. Swing and a miss. That is flipped off the inside of the bat, so a foul ball. Count remains the same.
Yeah, that was a funky looking. I couldn't tell what happened.
Lots of confusion down here and up here, so nonetheless, count remains the same. Crowd looking to stay in it here in the top of the 7th. 2 outs away, bases juiced. No balls and 2 strikes. Makai Grant, the freshman pitcher, comes set at the chest. The 0-2 pitch. Fastball inside, a great pick from the senior catcher, Joe Powell, as he's trying to protect the plate here with bases loaded. Infield in a standard look. Ace Reese playing middle infield. Swing and a miss and a strike three on the 1-2 pitch from Mekhi Grant. 92 miles an hour from the freshman pitcher, and he gets out of the bases loaded jam with 2 outs. And Eli, that is exactly the momentum booster that Mississippi State would need to take themselves into the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, Mekhi Grant just, hey, let me do it myself. Got himself into trouble and got himself out of it. 3 strikeouts. Really good stuff from the kid. I mean, he's got so much junk. You see the talent. You really do. I hope he can put it all together. He's going to be fun to watch.
No doubt. Development under Justin Parker has shown and improved now with this young pitching staff. That'll take us to the bottom of the 7th with the 7th inning stretch.
Get up and stretch, John.
We'll step aside and take a quick stretch. We'll be back for the bottom of the 7th. You're listening to Mississippi State Baseball on the Mississippi State Student Radio.
And welcome back here in the bottom half of the 7th inning, the Duty Noble Field, as we got the Battle of the Bulldogs tonight, as Mississippi State leads 4-1 in the bottom of the 7th. 0-1 count to Bryce Chance. Chance so far hitless in this one, but he has walked. As he takes a breaking ball in the inside half for ball 1. That evens the count up at 1-1.
Yeah, new pitcher on the mound for Samford, Austin Tomasini. He takes over after John Malone has a good outing.
Yeah, Malone did a really good job of keeping this Samford team in it, and Tomasini's going to be looking to pick that up here in the 7th inning as he throws. Outside part is going to be taken for ball 3. As that moves the count to 3-1. Bryce Chance looking to go for his first hit tonight.
Yeah, hasn't been able to find the right pitch to him, but, you know, this infield respects him as majority of the infield has been in its shift all night.
No doubt, John. Chance, a very professional hitter, as he takes ball 4 there. He's showing he's going to be patient at the dish. As that'll be his 2nd walk of the night, and that's going to bring up Ace Reese. Third baseman's gone 1 for 3 today, batting .305 on the year.
Yeah, Ace Reese has been a phenomenal addition to this team, if you ask me. A transfer from Houston, and he's fit like a glove in this lineup for Chris Lamonis and Jake Gautreaux, and definitely developed him into a Bulldog.
Yeah, John, you see the talent as that ball is hit well to center field. Back goes Gupton on the track, and it is caught at the wall.
Oh, my goodness.
I believe he might have robbed that.
That was an insane play
Wow.
from Michael Gupton. And, I mean, I was just saying, like, Jake Gautreau has definitely helped. Ace Reese came into this team with lots of talent, and he shows it right there with just a phenomenal, well-hit ball. But, sometimes it's, great offense but better defense.
A game of inches, John, as we talked about earlier. Tomasini gives his approval as he gets the head nod out there to his center fielder. What a play by Michael Gupton out there in center, as Ace Reese will sit down after a long fly out to the center fielder. That'll bring up Noah Sullivan, who's also had his struggles tonight at the dish.
Yeah, well, we have a pretty interesting matchup. We have the mustache on the mustache.
Boy, I'll tell you what, John, Tomasini's mustache might just go unrivaled. It reminds me of an oldie but a goldie pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers a long time ago, Riley Fingers, as Tomasini comes set in the pitch. That'll be high for ball one. That evens up the count at 1-1. Runner on first base is Bryce Chance with one out here in the inning. And if you're just tuning in, boy, you missed a web gem by the center fielder, Michael Gupton. What just an athletic play out there in center field.
Robbed a home run from Ace Reese.
As that one inside, and I think it might have got Sullivan there.
Yeah, I think that clipped Sullivan right in the armpit. And that's a weak part of the body right there, and that's not where you want to get hit.
No, not at all, John. That one's going to be feeling for a little bit as he walks his way down to first base. Takes his time. That's going to bring up the cleanup spot, which today Lamonis gives the nod to Hunter Hines.
Yeah, Hunter Hines was definitely started out the season. He was your clear-cut cleanup hitter. And, Hunter Hines and Noah Sullivan battling for that spot. But now Hunter Hines this past few weekends has had a tough stretch. He was in the 7-hole spot this past weekend.
As that fastball is going to miss high. And, John, back to what you were saying about Hunter Hines. Really had a coming-out party a little bit. He struggled at the dish recently. And today he's kind of gotten back into that well. He's going to try and break out here. He's got runners on first and second with one out. As that ball hit really well but also foul.
Yeah, just an absolute rocket right down in that visitor's bullpen on that first baseline. But, we've seen Hunter Hines all day. Me and you, we've watched a lot of baseball. We've seen a lot of moonshots over that right field line over in that Anderson Plaza.
He's certainly capable of it, John. Hunter Hines, now third in all-time home runs on the Mississippi State career home run leader list. I don't know if you missed that development this weekend or not, but let it be known now. As he fouls that one off, and that count will bring it to 1-2.
Yeah, slow start to the season, but if he can pick it up, he has a very serious chance of getting that home run record and taking the throne over Rafael Palmeiro.
He's got all the signs that point to a really good power hitter, John, and all the makings of a professional ball player for sure.
And if he can be up in that plethora of hitters, and your name's right next to Rafael Palmeiro, a lot of people, if you're not familiar, the Palmeiro Center is where the massive indoor facility that was donated from Rafael Palmeiro, a large indoor facility here at Mississippi State.
That ball is absolutely belted deep to right center field, and it is dropped by Gupton as he tried to make another athletic play. As Chance and Reese both around third base simultaneously. And that'll be a 2 RBI double for Hines, John. You talked about the power, and, well, he put it on full display there. As Gupton, we'll take a pause here, maybe shaken up from that one.
An absolute tough play, and, Hunter Hines takes a 1-2 pitch and drills it deep to right field. I think if that's another yard, that is a little yard higher. I think that ball is absolutely gone. That's every bit of 379 right there. And, Michael Gupton robs a home run from Ace Reese, and right there you hate to see it. He overplays it just a little bit, and it runs right into the wall, right next to the 12 sign, right next to the 12 College World Series appearances on the wall out in right field. But Michael Gupton and the training staff trying to check on him, but nonetheless, a great well-hit ball from Hunter Hines, and that's exactly what we wanted. 0 for 2 on the day, comes into this at-bat. The entire infield shifted a certain way around him, but Hunter Hines finds his pitch and sends it deep to right field, and now after that, that's going to bring about another pitching change.
So we'll close the book on Tomasini as he only comes in for a couple of batters there. Unable to get out of this one. And that's going to bring in number 12, Trey Sanders, the junior right-hander. He's going to try and come in and limit the damage a little bit as Hunter Hines got us going with a 2 RBI double. It's good to see Michael Gupton up and around. All our wishes are with him. He looks to be okay out there in center field. A really good athlete. A do-or-die play. But nonetheless, Mississippi State with a 6-1 lead as we'll go to a break here as the pitching change ensues for the Samford Bulldogs. You're listening to the Bulldog Student Sports Network. Welcome back to Bulldog Student Sports Network. Here in the bottom of the 7th, Aaron Downs duo. We had a couple changes during the break. We had Sanders in pitching now, in for Tomasini, and Garrick Fry pinch running here at second base for Hunter Hines.
Yeah, Trey Sanders coming into the game with 5.56 ERA.
And that ball smoked to left field, but it's going to be off the end of the bat and right to the left fielder, Trey Higgins.
Yeah, that's a well-hit ball for Aaron Downs. He's had a couple of base hits like that. He had one earlier tonight in his first at-bat, dropped right in front of Higgins in left field, but that ball just a little bit hot and right at him. So Nolan Stevens now up to bat.
The Bulldogs starting to figure out something here with the bats, as we've seen a couple of well-hit balls this inning, John. They're starting to see the ball well, as Nolan Stevens just missed a home run in his last AB. He's now going to be up with 2 outs and a runner on second. As that ball's well hit, but it's going to be right to the second baseman, Ince, over there in the shift, playing shallow right field. And that'll be thrown to first base for the final out of the inning. Well, the Bulldogs score a couple. 2 runs on 1 hit, 0 errors, and 1 runner left on base. We'll go to the break here as the top of the 8th inning is coming up. As Samford will look to get back some runs. As we'll have Hayden Carr leading us off back. Souders will be second, and McDonald in the hole. You're listening to Bulldogs Student Sports Network.
6-1 lead here in the top of the 5th inning. Mississippi State leads over Samford after Mississippi State tacks on a few runs in the bottom of the 7th inning. Now in to pitch for Mackay Grant is Ben Davis.
Ben Davis.
Now due up to the plate, Cade Carr, the DH tonight. He's batting in the 3-hole spot. First pitch to Carr is fastball at 94 on the inside corner for ball 1.
Yeah, good to see Davis back out here in the midweek. Kind of got knocked around a little bit last weekend against Oklahoma. The errors didn't help him, but trying to get some confidence back here. The guy's got it. I mean, he really does. It's just about the execution and getting your confidence right back up. Baseball is a mental game, especially pitching, and so it's good to see him back out here getting some more reps and some more playing time.
That's right. Other pitch is inside fastball for strike 1 to even up the count. The 1-1 pitch is fouled back, so that now that Ben Davis ahead in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes here with no outs in the top of the 8th inning. Mississippi State leads by 5, 6-1. Infield playing in a standard set. Now Michael O'Brien in center field shaded a little bit more over to the
That's a
right
good
side.
pitch, yeah.
And a 1-2 pitch is a 95-mile-an-hour fastball in the outside corner. And Cade goes down on strikes. So Ben Davis enters the game and starts off strong with a strikeout. And that was not the case in his last appearance against Oklahoma. He goes 1 inning pitched, gives up 5 hits and 7 runs. 2 of those were earned. So I had a little bit of not much help from his defense. Nonetheless, he gives up a walk and a strikeout. So already back to the same amount of strikeouts in his last appearance. Now first pitch, swing and a miss for strike 1. The 1 pitch is another fastball in the dirt to even up the count. So 1 ball and 1 strike here with 1 out away in the top of the 8th inning. Jake Souders due up to the plate. The 1-1 pitch is a chopper over to third base by Ace Reese, and unable to field it cleanly as that was a high chopper, and Reese just tried to field it as easy as possible, but rattled around a little bit too much with that forehand ground ball. So
yeah, and I think scorekeeper's gonna end up giving him an error on that one, just because it's a tough play anytime you're gonna have to charge high chopper like that, but it's certainly makeable. And he's just had a really tough go over at third base tonight. I think that maybe 2 errors, depending on what they gave that bad hop over there, charged to him tonight already. And that's just kind of been the story of the Bulldogs this season so far, John, if you really want me to get into it again. But, it's just been how can they overcome these errors and just be more defensively sound? It really feels like they're on the verge of something, and they just can't really put it all together.
yeah, and we saw a lot of those errors come to fruition in the Saturday game against Oklahoma. 5 errors, and you end up losing that game by 2 runs, 13-11, as Ben Davis tries to pick over at first base with now Parker McDonald up to the plate. But yeah, like I was saying, you have 5 errors compared to no errors for Oklahoma, and that's the difference.
And you're in that ball game, which is crazy. You got the lead in the 8th inning. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
it's so hard to overcome, especially on the road, right? It's already hard to win games on the road, and then you go and make it even more hard for yourself. You're just not doing yourself any favors out there as a defense, as a team.
That's right. It's now 1 ball and 2 strikes, the 1-2 offering. A swing and a miss, and another strikeout for Ben Davis, as Davis takes over from Mackay Grant and already has 2 strikeouts here to start off the top of the 8th inning. And Ace Reese, who has an error, the second batter that Ben Davis faces. And now with a runner at first base here in the top of the 8th inning with 2 outs, Ben Davis faces Trey Higgins. First pitch to Higgins is a fastball at 93 outside for ball 1. So 1 ball and no strikes here with 2 outs in the top of the 8th. The right-handed pitcher, Ben Davis, comes set at the belt. The stretch and the pitch. 1-0 is outside. So Ben Davis enters this game here with a 3.86 ERA here on the season, now through 21 innings pitched. He's given up 16 hits and 9 earned runs.
I will say this, John.
Yeah, the 2-0 pitch is
It's-
lifted
yeah.
foul out of play.
I don't know if there's been a SEC team with the most brutal opening series, if that makes sense, than Mississippi State. You've got Texas at home, sure, top 10, team. You go on the road to Oklahoma, and now you turn around and go on the road to LSU.
A very tough slate nonetheless. You have a top 10 team in Texas, a top 15 team in Oklahoma. And now that 2-1 pitch to Higgins is lifted high into right field, ranging back at Stevens, and able to track down that ball. And we've seen a little bit of trouble for these outfielders in this very bright lights. Nonetheless, Ben Davis comes in relief for the Bulldogs after Mekhi Grant takes over. So Mississippi State will move to the bottom of the 8th inning. Back-to-back strikeouts and a pop-up to right field. That'll do it for the bottom of the 8th. Mississippi State leads 6-1. You're listening to Mississippi State Baseball, the Bulldog Student Sports Network. And we're back now for the bottom of the 8th inning. Gatlin Sanders due up to the plate, the left-handed hitting second baseman. Now faces Trey Sanders, takes first pitch fastball, swing and a miss on the outside corner for strike 1. Now the Sanders-Sanders matchup. Gatlin Sanders faces the right-handed pitcher Trey Sanders for Samford. The 0-1 pitch is a breaking ball outside for ball 1 to even up the count. 1 ball and 1 strike here with no outs in the bottom of the 8th. Mississippi State leads 6-1 over Samford. 1-1 pitch is off speed inside for ball 2.
And Sanders has had a really good night tonight, John. He's gone 1 for 1 with the catcher's interference, and he's made a difference. He's been on base, and that's one thing that Mississippi State needs. They need base runners, and he's been able to do that.
Now the
That may
2-1
get down.
pitch is a blooper into left field, and that gets down just over
Oh, he's going to try and get 2.
in between the third and left fielder. And
Uh-oh.
pitch is hot. Gatlin Sanders, the pitch gets
There's that
all the way
bullpen.
into the bullpen of the visitors down the right field line. So Gatlin Sanders takes a double, and the blooper that gets just in between the left fielder and the third baseman. So the throw from Higgins gets behind Jeffrey Ince, who was covering at second base, and the ball gets all the way from second base and travels into the visitors' bullpen for Samford that is tucked away just behind first base. So Gatlin Sanders takes a double, and with a throwing error from Higgins, finds himself 90 feet away to start off the bottom of the 8th inning. Now with Dylan Cupp up to the plate.
Yeah, well, John, the bullpen giveth and the bullpen taketh away. And, you know, we saw what happened for the Bulldogs earlier as a wild pickoff move got kind of Samford to third base, and now gave Mississippi State a chance to get back even there. I'm telling you, it's disadvantage for both teams. That visiting bullpens, it's tricky, man.
Yeah, we saw that earlier in this ball game and benefited Samford. So
Oh, no.
0-1 pitch is a chopper over to third base and with the Samford infield playing in the chopper over to McDonald. He's able to glove it and toss it over to home, over to Perry, the catcher for Samford, and tag out Gatlin Sanders. So the double and the advance after the throwing error gets negated after the fielder's choice. So
Just another miscue there by the Bulldogs, added to the long list this year. I mean, but yeah, hard hit ball to third base with the infield in like that. Yeah, you got to check up and you got to see where that ball is. And he just kind of went on first contact, ended up getting thrown out really without a, ball beats him there in plenty of time. Just unfortunate.
that's right. So now Joe Powell, now with the 1-0 count, takes the 1-0 pitch, inside fastball for strike one to even up the count. So 1 ball and 1 strike here with 1 out away. Dylan Cupp sits at first base after a fielder's choice. Gatlin Sanders tagged out at home plate. And so now Joe Powell, who's 1 for 2 on the day with the 2-out RBI single. The 1-1 pitch is a fastball that's catches the bottom of the zone for strike 2. So 1 ball and 2 strikes here with 1 out.
I'll tell you what, our home plate umpire, Lance Weems, has done a fairly good job tonight of being pretty consistent. But there has been a couple.
That's right. The 1-2 pitch, a chopper over to third base. Gloved by McDonald, trying to turn 2.
Wow. Oh.
And Joe Powell is called safe at first base. So Samford defense tried to turn 2. McDonald, the third baseman, gloved it. Tossed it over to Ince. So Cupp is out at second base. Joe Powell reaches first base on a fielder's choice. And now Lance Weems and Joseph Smith will have a quick conversation. And they're going to take a look at this call. So that play will be under review. And right there with Joe Powell. Joe Powell, maybe not the speediest guy in this lineup. Still athletic. You think that he might have made the play over there at first base.
Yeah, looked bang bang, but I think he got just a little bit in front of the throw. I don't know. It's going to be close.
Call on the field says that Joe Powell is safe.
That may go be in favor of Mississippi State. Just because it's going to be really hard to overturn this one if it's not clear. Is his foot on the bag? That doesn't look... No, I don't think his foot's on the bag.
So we take a look here.
Oh,
It
goodness.
was a pretty bang bang play as that ball is
Oh, yeah, his foot's not on the bag.
entering the glove as he is tapping on the green base bag. So, according to this video review, from our eyes, it appears that Harris, his left foot is just off of the first base.
Yeah, I think this one's going to stand, partner.
So the officials march out to confirm the call. We see,
Yeah, okay.
and the call on the field is confirmed. So Joe Powell reaches first base. Dylan Cupp is out at second base. There's a chopper over the third base, gloved by McDonald. He tried to turn 2, and with an opportunity with the catcher up to the plate, had a pretty good intentions, but nonetheless, Joe Powell able to beat out the throw, and now Bryce Chance, who's leading off this evening for the Bulldogs, takes first pitch for a strike. 2 outs away here in the bottom of the 8th. Mississippi State we're going to add on a few more runs as they lead by 5. Another strikeout, another strike to make it no balls and 2 strikes.
You know what's funny about today, John? It really hasn't been the top of the lineup that's done a whole lot this game. And, I think, well, I say that, Chance, obviously, he's been on base twice for 2 walks, but Reese hasn't done a whole lot. Hunter Hines has really gotten you the most of your production out of the top of the order with that 2-run double. But it's really been the bottom of the lineup that's come through for the Bulldogs tonight, and I think that's a really encouraging thing to see. Even though the top of the lineup may not be producing, you know you're going to be okay there. But seeing these guys at the bottom of the lineup get hot and start producing, when 1 through 9 gets firing on all cylinders, that's a scary team.
No doubt. Gatlin Sanders obviously having one of the more productive outings, 2 for 2 today. So now 1 ball and 2 strikes to Chance, the 1-2 offering. And that's a blooper over to the right side. Ranging back over the wall.
Did he catch that?
Jumping into the grandstand.
Wow.
Right next to the netting is first baseman Harris, and he snags an out. Number 3 for Bryce Chance. So Chance ends his day going 0 for 3.
They're going to have a meeting here.
And so the umpires will have a quick discussion after that play. And Eli, not every day you see a play like that, but my goodness, Harris with a phenomenal catch down the first baseline. He was traveling just near the visitors' bullpen, and he's able to secure the grab right next to the netting. I'm not sure if the netting, if the ball touched the protective layer right there.
Yeah.
If that's the case, I believe that call would be nulled. So,
and we've seen some, just absolute uber athletic plays here. And, yeah, I think that did touch the net, maybe.
But, Harris is almost taking a seat in the first row of those grandstands by the time that he is jumping into the netting.
Oh, onto a lap.
And
onto the lap of a fan.
With a fan that's sitting in the first row, he's able to give him a bear hug and make sure he's okay. Heads up play there for Harris, but I guess we'll see as Chris Lemonis is kind of shaking his head and kind of smiling after that. It's just a very unusual baseball play that we see in today's game.
You don't see it often, but with the extension of all these safety nets, it does happen. And again, you want to talk about putting your body on the line for the game right there. Some really crazy plays have been made by this Samford defense. You got Gupton in center field robbing a home run, and you got Harris going swan diving into the grandstands through the netting and everything. Just no regard.
Harris was about to ask for some popcorn and some nachos while he was at it.
Little Prince Fielder action, grab some nachos from a fan. Lemonis, he looks visibly upset about something.
But if this call is confirmed, that would take us to the top of the 9th inning, and Mississippi State would only need 3 more outs to seal the deal. But, yeah, these umpires are taking their time, trying to make sure this is the right call.
Yeah, they're taking a long look at this one.
At this point, Eli, I really don't know if there's going to be enough to overturn this.
I couldn't see anything from the on-video review here going on on the scoreboard.
And if that's the case, then you just got to tip your cap to Harris for making such a phenomenal play.
No kidding.
First base.
Really good stuff here by the Samford defense. From that angle, it looks like it possibly could have. Oh, we're in the zoom. I want to know what the rule. I'm just not knowledgeable enough. I'm pretty knowledgeable about the game, but this is just, if a player moves the netting backward, I wonder if that goes into effect.
I really do. You would think that if the ball touched the net at all, that it would not count. But nonetheless, Bryce Chance still sitting out, and here the officials come out for the call.
Yeah.
And the call is confirmed. So, a pretty unusual play after the long review, but call is confirmed, and that'll take us to the top of the 9th inning. And it'll be Ben Davis to take the mound. And now we'll step aside. Mississippi State leads by 5 runs, 6-1. As we enter the top of the 9th, we're going to step aside and take a quick break for Mississippi State as we enter the final inning for Mississippi State baseball. You're listening to Bulldog Baseball, Bulldog Student Sports Network.
Two, one.
And we're back now for the top of the 9th. Nate Williams on the mound. First pitch, fastball down Broadway, a swing and a miss to Matthew Strand, the pinch hitter out of Swanee, Georgia. He's a senior, now batting below 100 at .077. The 0-1 pitch is a breaking ball that is a few feet shy of the home plate for ball 1.
Yeah, went to the break with a very interesting play.
Very interesting.
That ball's hit well.
Now the 1-1 pitch is ripped down the right side, out of play, just outside of the concourse. Yeah, those that are just now joining us, the bottom of the 8th inning ended in a pretty peculiar fashion. Now the 1-2 pitch, a big swing, that's fouled back. And the bottom of the 8th inning ended off of an unusual play with Bryce Chance with a blooper down the right side, and Harris, the first baseman for Samford, leans into the netting and catches the final out to take it to the top of the 9th. Now the 1-2 pitch with no outs. Fastball outside the Strand at 95. 2-2 count now.
Well, he can sling it.
No doubt. Nate Williams coming into this game with a .386 ERA. Now the 2-2 pitch.
Yeah, got him.
Inside, gets Strand looking on strikes, and that'll throw it around the horn. And Nate Williams trying to boost his confidence as he enters this game with a record of 0-2 in his 9 2/3 innings pitched. He's given up 6 hits and 4 runs. 4 of those have been earned. But his strikeout to walk ratio is quite crazy as he enters this game with 24 strikeouts and only 1 walk.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you'll take that.
Take that any day.
Any day.
First pitch to Gus Gandy, the shortstop, is a fastball in the outside corner for strike 1.
Hey, Gandy just hasn't been able to get it going today.
0 for 3 on the day. 0-1 pitch is breaking ball at 80 miles an hour. Takes nearly 15 miles an hour off of off the previous pitch.
Good
So
gracious, a lot.
0-2 count with 1 out. The 0-2 offering.
Yep.
Swing and a miss, and that's fouled back.
Speed you back up. How about it?
No doubt. Now Gus Gandy, the 8th hitter in the lineup. On deck is Gupton. Now the
Good
0-2 pitch is a swing and a miss. And Joe Powell will throw it around the horn. The back-to-back strikeouts for Nate Williams. And that'll boost the strikeouts to 25 on the year for Nate Williams. So now due up Michael Gupton, the center fielder, making some tough plays for the Samford Bulldogs out in center field.
Yeah, I mean, this kid, he's really just a freak athlete. He's so quick out there in center field, and he showed off the hops, too, going up and robbing that Isheries home run. Wow, is all I can say, really. It's just an insane play. You can see the talent. You can see he's just a plus defender out there.
No doubt. First pitch fastball to Gupton was a swing and a miss. Another swing and a miss to Gupton at 94 on the gun. And so Michael Gupton behind in the count. 0-2 here with 2 outs. Fans are on their feet and clapping. The stretch and the pitch, the 0-2. A check swing as that was a few feet in the dirt. Joe Powell throws it over to first base, and that'll be out number 3. Mississippi State takes another victory at home in the midweek. And Mississippi State wins over Samford 6-1. The Bulldogs beat the Bulldogs from Birmingham. And that is a all-out team effort for Mississippi State all around. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back shortly for the post-game report. Mississippi State, the final score, Mississippi State wins 6-1 over the Samford Bulldogs.
one.
Final score at Duty Noble, Mississippi State takes the win over the Samford Bulldogs 6-1. They improved to 16-9. Samford down to 13-12. Mississippi State with a great comeback victory after losing the series to Oklahoma this past weekend. It'll be Kevin Minnell who gets the win. He now improves to 2-0 on the year, and just a phenomenal outing all around. Eli, what'd you take away looking at some of these stats?
Well, I think, John, we might have hit on it a little earlier. I may have jumped the gun. I think one thing you got to look at is the bottom of the order and how well they produced tonight for Mississippi State. We mentioned earlier, Gatlin Sanders had a really good night. He found his way on base, 2 hits and his 2 ABs, also with the catcher's interference. He just found a way. Also with an RBI. And Joe Powell, probably him or Hunter Hines might be your Bulldog player of the game tonight. Had a really clutch AB with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Had that full count and just took a fastball the other way into the outfield. Really good job piece of hitting with 2 strikes and 2 outs tonight for Mississippi State. And I think that was their key to success tonight over the 6-1 ball game. In the win tonight.
Yeah, and we kind of touched on this a little bit, and how the fact that Samford challenged Mississippi State's bats in the way that they defended Mississippi State. We saw lots of shifts, lots of movements all around, but these bats, even the guys lower in the order that maybe still needed some development, and they proved what they were capable of tonight. We saw that with Joe Powell and taking it the other way. We saw it with Ace Reese, who had a similar at-bat, taking it over to the left field. And Hunter Hines, who, might have needed a pick-me-up game after the past kind of few weeks leading up to this. He had a good weekend against Oklahoma, but building off of that momentum, not just making it a one-time deal, and continuing to be the batter that he knows that he can be.
Yeah, and they're going to have a really tough matchup as they go down to Baton Rouge to face the the Bayou Bengals of LSU. Just a brutal opening slate for the Dogs, but you got to find a way to get this series, I think. Really, especially if you want to turn it around this year. If you're Chris Lemonis and this team, you're itching to find one. A couple have gotten away from you. Really should have had 2 at Texas. You really should have had 2 here at Oklahoma. You got to find a way, right? And whether that means, I think Pico's going to give you a chance on Friday night. You're always going to be in that game with him on the mound. And then, you get that one, and you had plenty of chances to do it Saturday and Sunday last weekend. I think you're still going to be put in some spots this weekend. But really, clutch hitting, 2-out RBIs, and errors is going to be the key. Cleaning some of that stuff up. This team's not far from putting it all together. I feel like they're only a couple things away. So I think it's possible, John. I think it is.
No, this is not a bad baseball team. And I think with a little bit more development as the team goes, developing that team chemistry that we know that we have, I think it'll go a long way. This Friday night, we have Pico Khan coming off of this past weekend. SEC Pitcher of the Week honors. You always know that he's going to have a chance on Friday night. Saturday night, not exactly sure what the rotation is. Ben Davis usually has been that Saturday starter guy. He comes in, he gives you an inning of work, has 2 strikeouts. Definitely a lot more confidence built up for him. You'd like to see that carry over into this weekend if he gets the call. And then Carson Ligon, who gets a good start this past Sunday, probably his best start since Missouri State. So it'll be a very interesting time for Mississippi State with Chris Lemonis and company. So that'll do it here for Mississippi State. Next series at home will be Mississippi State versus South Carolina. That'll be our next time back at home. But for now, we're going to say so long from Duty Noble alongside Eli Sykes. I'm John Wesley Cochran. We'll see you next time.